everyone. So I've added some new things onto my Mercari. From time to time you all ask me about Mercari. That's why I just started this intro to let you know and see what's available on Mercari at the current time. So I have some brand new clothes that my son didn't wear when he was in elementary school. He got for gifts and whatnot. So those are available, new with tags. I have my clothes, of course, that you know I decluttered from my closet that I absolutely liked, but I just wasn't reaching for that much because I don't go out that much. Of course, we know I have some makeup. I'm always going to have some makeup. She loves her makeup here. So I have some eyeshadow palettes, some foundations, some blushes, some highlighters, some bronzers and whatnot. I will be adding some more fragrances coming soon along with skincare and body care, so stay tuned for that. But this is what I have for now. On to today's video.
What's up, everyone? It is your girl, Gelbeauty-QM here, aka Grace Honey, and today we're going to get into another eyeshadow versus video. So I haven't done these in ages. If you like videos like this, I have done other eyeshadow videos. So I do like a why you don't need series where I talk about why you don't need to buy the latest eyeshadow palette because you might have an older palette in your collection with a simpler color story. So I try to help save y'all's coin as much as I can. You still buy new makeup releases though, as far as eyeshadow goes, for you to check out and watch. And then if you like a good complexion video, because I love a complexion moment as well, I should have a couple of the new complexion videos popping up over my face right now. And if you like a good fragrance video, some of my favorite fragrance brands are Snif, Skye. Usually buy like fragrances you can find at Sephora or Ulta. I don't really dabble too much into the Arabian fragrances. I'm going to try in the future, but like right now I just haven't been on it. So if you do need a code for Snif though, I do have a code. It's Grace10. You can save on your purchase at Snif. Fine, if you like a good fashion video, honey, you've come to the right place. About a year ago, one of you all asked me to start showing you my outfits and the clothes I wear. So I've done 2 fashion shorts a week for the last like 6 months at least. There should be one over here for you to check out. I've also done some long form content as far as fashion goes because I go to TJ Maxx and film weekly TJ Maxx videos for you all. So I did one on TJ Maxx, the stuff I bought and how I styled the stuff I bought, for anyone who's interested in that. I've also done one on Forever 21 for my fashion forward girlies who don't like to spend a lot of money on layering pieces to put with their more expensive items. Make sure you check out that video. Stay away from Temu. From what I saw in people's videos, they have scorpions in the stuff, so just take yourself Forever 21, girls. It's not that deep. And then finally, I have one with this brand called Johansson. They're one of my favorite international brands to buy from. I like the uniqueness and the style of their clothes, so I did a video on them, and I have another one coming soon. I bought a few pieces from them during their Black Friday sale, so I'll have some more videos coming soon. Just stay tuned for that. So without further ado, let's get into this, but make sure you hit the subscribe button if you like all the stuff I just named. So today's episode, we are going to be doing the Huda Beauty up against Natasha Denona. Now I know I did Natasha Denona up against Pat McGrath originally, but I found that I have like 3 or 4 Huda Beauty palettes that look really similar to Natasha Denona and vice versa. So I thought I would go ahead and do this video. So I've actually done a video comparing both of these side by side, Natasha Denona and the Huda Beauty Empowered palette. And funny enough, this is like one of my most watched reels on my YouTube channel. So let's start off with Natasha. So this is the My Dream palette. If you all remember when this came out, everybody talked about how wonderful and lovely and gorgeous it was. But I just thought it was so funny that the same year that Huda came out with her palette, so I was like, oh, so this was both y'all dream? Or like, what is going on here? But I will say I do like this palette. I like the color story just fine. It gives you like a nice smoky eye, gives you some little warm, neutral toned colors. I more prefer this side of the palette because it gives a little bit deeper, grungier version that you can add with the retro palette, the original retro, not the new one. I'm not really as crazy about this side of the palette, but it's Natasha's dream, not mine, so there you go. But I do like the formula of it. I do think it's great quality, and you know these palettes are hit miss. This one is a hit. I definitely like it, and I definitely think it's a great price point compared to the other 129 ones. So this one gets 3 points for me because it's a luxury product that has a decent price point. It's one of her good formula versions of those palettes, and I did like the looks I did when I used it. So there's that. Next we have the Empowered palette. I'll show them here, even though like I said the shorts is like one of my most popular shorts. I think 11,000 people have filmed it, so y'all really liked that. But as you can see, they're giving quite similar vibes. If anything, I feel like this one's a little more warm tone because they don't have those cool tone berryish type moment with it. But otherwise, like, they look pretty spot on and pretty even to me. But anyway, I like the Huda Beauty one okay. I don't like it as much as Natasha's because it has this weird like jelly shade in it, and then it has like this weird eyeliner shade in it that I really didn't ask for and don't like. I hate when she does stuff like that. It's like I know she's trying to make the palette unique and different, but I personally don't like that. Not to mention I'm not really crazy about warm tones. So this one, although I like the look I came up with because I love this like Trophy Wife Gold shade right here. I'm not that crazy about this palette, so I mean it's a good price point and it is good quality, and I like the eye look okay, but since I don't really like neutrals that much, I feel like I should give this one a 2. So this one gets a 2, and so far Natasha is in the lead. But we will not be using this in video because obviously I already gave you all a video on it along with shorts. So next we have the Rose Quartz palette. So this is what it looks like on the inside. Now this is one of my all-time favorite Huda beauty palettes. Oh wait, no, I'm supposed to be showing Natasha first. I'm so sorry. So we have the Natasha Denona Roxa palette. Shout out to my bestie Dionluvsmakeup. She was so kind and let me use hers after she did the videos for it on her channel. So this is what it looks like on the inside. As you can see, it's giving purple vibes, and if you don't know me, then you did not know I am a purple palette connoisseur. So I love a good purple moment. She's purple, I'm here for this vibe. She's real cute and I need it. So needless to say, I was going to have this palette in my collection. She was just nice enough to give me hers because she's not as crazy about purple as I am. But I thought this was okay. I like it better than I like the Lila palette. I was really not a fan of the Lila palette, and I was wondering how this would compare to the Lila palette. And honestly, I feel like it's a miniature version of the Lila palette, but it gives more purple than I felt like Lila initially gave. So I do like this one better. I wouldn't say I love it. The looks I came up with was okay, but I have lots of purple palettes. So I think it's good for the price point compared to her Lila palette. I think it's a better color story than her Lila palette, but I'm not necessarily crazy about the purple looks I get with this considering all the purple palettes I have to choose from. So it's giving it 2 over a 3. Now let's get into my Rose Quartz palette. So you'll see, or you clearly saw, that it doesn't match my Rose Quartz perfectly. I just felt like they gave similar vibes because they were both like purple palettes. If anything, I feel like this is more of a warm tone, cool tone type moment because they're both giving purple. But I feel like this is giving more cool tone, mauvey beige purple. And this is giving more warm tone, like berry purple. So each of them are giving a different vibe, but they both are purple at the end of the day, and I like to have 3 to 4 palettes at least. So I had 3 that matched perfectly, so I just threw this one in there to make myself feel better. Mind your business. But like I said, Rose Quartz is easily one of my favorite palettes from Miss Ulta Beauty. I love this palette. It'd probably be my top 5 when it comes to like her bigger palettes. I just think it's such a beautiful color story. I do still hate the fact that it has one of these jelly shades with the pigment in it. I just have just always hated those. Whether she does that or the concealer or the eyeliner, I really just don't like it. So to me, that's always a wasted shade. But the shimmers in here are amazing. The mattes are really nice, and I get some really nice either smoky looks or just like pink and purple, like mauvey soft looks. So I really enjoy this palette. It gets a 3 for me. So far they're running even. They each have 5. We'll see what's gonna break the tie. Now these last 2 palettes, I'm trying to decide which ones to use when it comes to the actual look that we're doing in this video today. So we have the Xenon palette from Natasha. Now I never understood why this had to be a whole palette, because I just, as you can see, I added a blue here because I felt like it was a blue matte missing from here, and then I think I put this blue shimmer in here as well because it was literally just black and white. But I just wanted some blue in it because I felt like a blue smoky eye. I tried to make this basically like a bigger version of the Subliminal palette from McGrath #1. I just tried to make this into a bigger version of that. This is a better price point than that one, I guess, in the long run, because you get more shades and more variety. Only you get more shades of gray and like black. So if you like gray and black, I feel like this would be good for you. But if you're not necessarily crazy about having a lot of gray and black, I would recommend you just get the 5 pans, the minis from her. They're 5 or 6 pans, and they have a miniature version of this mini Xenon before they came out with this full-size palette. I do have a code with Natasha Denona, by the way. If you're interested, you can use Gelbeauty-87 to get a discount, but you won't necessarily get the custom one I got. I ended up taking a bigger shade of a blue shadow and just pressing her pan in it. Since these are removable pans, that's another thing I like about Natasha Denona. You can remove the pan, switch it around, and make it to whatever you prefer it to be. So that's why I like to keep her around, even if I'm not necessarily crazy about it, because I could use one of these shades in the future and switch it out with another palette to take on vacation or something. But I'm not crazy about this palette. I'll give it a 2 because I wasn't crazy about the looks I came up with, because I could come up with the same look in the smaller one. So the price point for this isn't necessarily worth it for me, other than it being a palette I can switch around and add shades into when I need to. So I don't know. For me, this one, I guess I don't know if I want to give it any points, honestly, just because I'm like, if I hadn't added the blue, I really wouldn't be concerned about it. So I think this is the first time I've ever given it a 0, but it's like I'm not really that big on doing smoky eyes, and when I do, I feel like there are just elements out of that one that's missing that the one from Huda Beauty Miss Pretty Grunge has. So that's kind of why I want to put it up against Pretty Grunge, just to see how they will fare. So let me show those side by side. So as you can see, Pretty Grunge is more like a, you know, more smoky tone version of the Rose Quartz palette, because I feel like it gives the same vibes. It gives some like taupey shades, some gray shades, some neutrally toned shades, and still a little bit of like transition shades. I feel like my problem with the Natasha one is you don't get transition shades, and if you do, it's gray. And since the smaller one that came out first, I just didn't feel like there was a need for this bigger one. That's just my personal opinion. But so Natasha gets a 0 when it comes to that one, and I'm feeling like I'm going to end up using the last palette to compare both of these as opposed to this one now looking at them closely. But I really love this palette as well. This is in my top 5 for Huda Beauty's bigger palettes as well, just because I really like the color story of this and the way they put it off. See, as you can see, it's like a lighter side where you can do a more taupey-ish neutral gray side, and then you can do more of like a mauve-ish berry tone, cool tone side if you prefer. That's really what I like about this palette, because it's like if I need to do a neutral smoky eye, I know I can use this side. If I want a more berry tone, mauve-ish smoky eye, I know I can use this side. So overall, when I want to do a smoky look, I would easily reach for the Pretty Grunge as opposed to reaching for the Xenon palette for the aforementioned reasons. It's just not doing it for me the way like other, you know, smoky palettes I have in my collection are doing it for me. It's too much gray and silver and not enough like neutral tones to balance it off, or like color to add on to make the smoky eye colorful, like unique experience. So this one is going to get 3 from me because the price point is nice, the formula is nice. I will say though, I do not like the fact that she keeps putting these cream liner shades in here trying to make those be a thing, but I appreciate the fact she stopped putting those jelly shades with the pearls in them in here and the concealer shades. So that's why I didn't knock it off too much. It's only this one liner and you don't have to use the liner, and I don't ever use the liner, so there you go. So the last one you have to talk about is the I Need a Nude palette, of course, because everybody has like a nudish palette that they come out with in their brand to make sure people buy from them regularly, and I feel like Natasha does this quite a bit. I did add this pink shade in here, and I think I added this shade. This is a Natasha Denona shade though. I got it from the Tropic palette, and I just smushed it in this smaller palette to make it work. And then this pink shade is an old single shadow I got from an indie brand and put it in here because I wanted a little bit more pink and stuff, because I feel like it was a little too neutral. So I was like, let me get some more peach and pink in here to go with these neutral tones to give me more of a peachy pink neutral eye as opposed to just a actual neutral eye. I always like to have a pop of color in my palettes, and I feel like this one shimmery pop of color wasn't enough, so I added those 2 shades on. So just keep that in mind. Yours is not going to look like mine because I did add these shades on. Just keep it in mind. But overall, I'm not a huge fan of this palette either, but I'm just not a fan of like neutral palettes, so this isn't an exciting one for me. It's just kind of like, man. But I feel like this is the one that people would want to see the most compared to the Huda palette we're going to compare to, and I feel like you should know which one it is. It's the last one that Huda says she's coming out with the big ones, and this is the Icy Nude. So we are going to definitely most likely compare Icy Nude to Natasha Denona's I Need a Nude, because they're giving similar vibes. I feel like this one is running a little more warm tone and cool tone combination, whereas Natasha's is more like a warm tone neutral type vibe. Anyway, I will say I do like Huda's better. I don't know, I just like the way Huda does nudes. I don't know if it's because Huda has a little more pigment to her skin, so she keeps in mind with the undertones and the colors that she uses with her palettes, and that's why I prefer them. But I always seem to prefer, even when she does nude palettes, her nude palettes. Now, is this one I'll put in my top 10? For the shimmers, maybe, because like the shimmers in here are just out of this world. Like, look how stunning these shimmers look. Like this one and this one, chef's kiss, amazing, absolutely stunning. So I could see myself still being in my like top 10 of her bigger palettes, even though I don't think there's like 10 of them, but like maybe top 5. I don't know. I won't say I hate it, but I won't say it would be like top tier for me, just because at the end of the day it is a neutral palette. But the shimmers are the star of the show, and her neutral palettes for me, normally they are Natasha's too, but I don't know, like that one just fell short for me. So when it comes to Natasha's, I don't know, I don't want to, honestly, I feel like I don't want to give it any points either, so I don't give that one any points either, just because it's so boring and doesn't have enough uniqueness. I feel like I would give this one like 2, because at the end of the day she crept up in the price a couple of dollars, but it wasn't like an outrageous amount, and I feel like she gave better shimmers to make up for the price hike. So I would give this one a 2, because I do like the shimmers and the formula of this, and I do think the price point is still pretty reasonable compared to some of these other people out here charging outrageous prices in this mold in their palettes. But yeah, so we're gonna go with the I Need a Nude from Natasha and the Huda Beauty Icy Nude for our eye look in today's video. So what I do is I go off camera, I'll swatch some shades for us to have an idea what we're going to put on the eyes, and I come back on camera and do each eye with you on camera. So that's what I'm going to go do now. So it'll be Natasha, Huda, and so on and so forth. Then I'll come back and do both eye looks with you, and then we'll rank overall how we feel about it. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, girl? Okay, y'all. So here are the shades. We got Natasha, Huda, Natasha, Huda, Natasha, Huda. So I'm gonna just use the lid shade. It's the same for the inner corner shade, or maybe we'll pick an inner corner shade later. I don't know, but I have 2 sets of a majority of the same brushes for us to use. So let's get into it. It's gonna be hard, but you. So I'm gonna start off with the shade Stone in this palette. So that's gonna be our transition shade. I tried to pick like a super light shade, and I'm not using my white base just because I'm like, I didn't want to waste my white base on like a neutral look. So I just used a regular eyeshadow base. This is I think this is Caffeine Primer Potion from Urban Decay. I feel like that's what this is. I know it's Urban Decay, but I don't know if I got the right shade or not, shade name or not, because I feel like Caffeine is a little bit deeper. But I know this is a primer potion with the wand and all that. So yeah, so that's what we're going with Natasha for this one. High Life, this one right here. I do feel like this one gives a little bit more like mauvish undertone, and the one from Natasha gives a little more gray. But we'll see what they look like once they get on. I'm hoping like we can pass it and make it work. But I do see it already pulling a little bit more purple than that one does. It could just be in my head. I feel like this one pulls like a little bit more neutrally gray, and Huda's always been pulling a little bit more purple. But again, that's what I like about her tones. Like they seem to pull more like mauve and not necessarily like a traditional neutral tone like Natasha likes to do a lot of the time. So I appreciate her for that. So far, this is how we looking. I feel like they look pretty similar so far, which I guess I should be glad about, but that means, you know, we're on the right track. And if you owned the Natasha one, you might not need to buy the Huda one, or if you want the Huda one over the Natasha one. I feel like the Huda one just looks like it has better shimmers. That's just my personal opinion, but you know, it's like a teach his own type thing. Okay, so now I'm gonna take the shade Tender down here. I hope that's actually the name of it. I did switch a couple of shades around here, but I think it was just like these two, sorry, I think it was just these two right here that I added, but I can't remember if they're in the right spot or not now, so my bad. Now this one isn't too much different in tone. I feel like it was just gonna give a little more depth to, like, you know, our crease area, which is what I was looking for with this look. We're trying to make it be like a traditional, simple, like neutrally cool tone smoky eye. So I figured the gray in the crease and starting off with a lighter shade would give us just that. Okay, so now we're gonna go into the shade Poised. This one right here, the kind of gray shade. Since I feel like they both look gray, I want to use gray on both sides to, like I said, make the looks match as much as we can. To me, this one looks more true gray though. I feel like the one from Natasha is giving like more of a taupey gray, and I feel like this gives more of like a traditional, what I expect the color gray to look like. If that makes any sense. So now that both of them are on, this is what we're working with. And I feel like close up, they're actually looking more similar than I thought. I thought this one was going to pull a little bit more gray, but I clearly feel like you can see that this is definitely more purpley mauve tone, and this is just more of a traditional neutral beige-ish shade. Okay, so let's get into our outer V shade now, which is the shade Stiletto. The downside about both of these palettes to me is like there's only this as a transition, as a outer V shade for a deeper skin tone. I feel like if you're lighter, you have more than one, but I feel like if you're my skin tone, this is like the only one you have in both palettes. So that's a little bit disappointing when it comes to both these palettes. But since these aren't normally my cup of tea anyway, it's not like that big a deal to me. I had to buy them for reference purposes because Huda isn't coming out with any more big ones supposedly. And then, you know, I do review a lot of Natasha Denona. Like I told you all before, I have a code with Natasha Denona. It's Gelbeauty-QM, and you can get a discount on whatever you purchase. So I'm liking the way this is turning out so far. We'll see how she ends up. Shade She's Rich. This one right here, I think it has 2 eyes in Rich there, but we're gonna take that on our outer V shade. Again, you can see that's quite dark, but at least with this one, now that I think about it, I feel like I might be able to pull this one off. If I blended it long enough, it would probably oxidize and get deeper the more I blended it. So with Huda's, there's 2. With Natasha's, there's literally 1. And I definitely actually feel like this one is gonna be too deep, the one that I initially swatched. Yeah, I definitely feel like it automatically was darker than Natasha's, but you know. Okay, so this is what we're working with. I do see a little bit more depth on this side than this one. It's not like super noticeable in my personal opinion, but I did want to know that it's there since I clearly see it. And along the way, I figure I should tell you what I'm seeing and what I'm noticing to compare the palettes, which is what's going to be obviously my deciding factor of which one I like the best. Okay, y'all, so let's get the glitter glue and get into Natasha's shimmer, which is called Muse. Again, I hope those are in the right place, because since I moved the palette around, or the shades around, to get rid of some other shades and make it look more aesthetically pleasing, I don't know if those are in the right spot or not. Now to me, this one seemed like it had a lot of glitter and sparkle to it, and it had like the similar shift to one in the Huda Beauty palette, and that's what I was trying to pick, like the most sparkly glittery one that looked similar to the most sparkly glittery one in the Huda palette. And I feel like I did a good job when it came to picking this one, so we'll see once I get on the lid, because I feel like that one's a little more silvery and has more of like a silverish taupish like undertone, and this one's more of like a champagne like gold type shade like Natasha normally likes to do. But it did seem like it had a reflex of the same shade as Huda when I swatched it on my hand, so that's how it ended up getting chosen. Okay, now let's glitter glue Huda side. Now on to VVS, this one right here. That's the one I felt looked closest to it. I do feel like it has some more like pinky and bronzy gold reflex in it than the one from Natasha, like I said. So let's press them on and see. Yeah, I definitely feel like it has more base sparkle in it than the one from Natasha Denona does. But I feel like the Natasha Denona one looks a little more like glittery, if you will. And this looks like a little more chunky, sparkly, glittery. Yes, very technical terms, no. Okay, y'all, should we put an inner corner color in? Because this is our finished look, so I'm trying to come as close as I can so you can see what I'm talking about. Because I feel like on the lids in this lighting, they still look really similar. But like, I feel like if you saw them in person, you see what I'm talking about. Like, this one just seems like it has more of like pearl effects in it. And this one seems to be more glitter heavy when it comes to the effects. I'm trying to debate if I want to put an inner corner shade in or not. Because I feel like there's not many that look similar in here for an inner corner shade to match. Which is why I kind of just skipped over and didn't swatch. So I think we actually gonna skip an inner corner shade this time. Which is rare for me. I'm usually always picking an inner corner shade. But this time I don't know, I just don't see one that I feel like will work well enough for me to do it. So I'm not going to force it upon myself. So let me back you on up now. I need to talk about our final thoughts. So when it comes to this eye look, or this eyeshadow Verzuz, I'm going to have to say the Huda one, just because I like the glitter formula of her shimmers better. I like the color selection of her mattes better. I just feel like I always say, I feel like her palettes always work better for me because she's a woman of color. So she keeps those type of things in mind when it comes to making her palettes. Even when it comes to the neutral shades she chooses. You notice there were 2 neutral shades in there that'll work for outer V shades for some of my skin tone, as opposed to Natasha having 1. And although when you blend it out, it deepens up because it's that cream to powder formula, it's still, you know, be nice to have more than one option. Not to mention I like the undertones of the ones that Huda had better than the ones of Natasha Denona. But if you like the Natasha Denona one, then you wouldn't need to pick up the Huda Beauty one unless you're sad that this is her last palette. But I prefer the Huda one over the Natasha one, so Huda wins this for me. But comment down below and tell me what you think and which one you thought should win. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Remember, y'all are diamonds. Make sure you subscribe. My membership is down below if you like more vlogs, home decor, cooking, lifestyle, and couponing videos. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Be blessed, girl. Bye.
The fun doesn't have to stop here. Let's be friends over on Instagram to check out the latest fashion, fragrance, and palette comparisons. Make sure you head on over to Instagram along with little glimpses into my life. So I can't wait to see you over on Instagram, and I hope you have a great day.